Hello and welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We're here for the Esports Tower Overwatch Rumble. It is the third week, and we're looking forward to some exciting gameplay here tonight. On the show, we'll bring you the round-robin stage for this week's event, plus the beginning of a quite fun show match that we'll have the conclusion to, plus our grand finals on next week's show. I'm your host, Michael Fisher. Joining me to call all of the action is Brenner Bear-Ladd. And Brenner, we get four teams we've seen quite a bit of. We'll get the Everest and Fire Islands from the Esports Tower, as well as the Pink Panthers and Blue Springs. We've seen some combination of these teams for the last few weeks. What are your expectations coming in tonight now that these teams are more familiar with each other and they're getting more and more practice together as a team?
I expect a lot, especially after we saw in the first week the Pink Panthers win. We saw it in week 2, then the Everest win, and now with Blue Springs being consistently in like that second place spot, and they've definitely been improving. I hope to see them finally take that first place spot. And Pink Panthers, since they took a week off, are definitely going to need to step up to meet the consistent practice that all of these teams have had, including Fire Islands. And I hope we see Fire Islands win a match this time around as well.
As you mentioned, Brenner, the Pink Panthers and the Everest both fighting for their second championship of the season. Both have looked very strong. Pink Panthers had some other obligations, some other tournaments to play, so that's why they weren't here this week. But they're coming back with a vengeance. As you mentioned, Blue Springs looking very impressive in their first Rumble event, making it all the way to the finals last week. And Fire Island's been working very hard in practice. Here's the breakdown tonight. We'll get your group play round robin. It is a best of 1. All of that is seeding for the grand finals, where the top 2 teams from the group play will play in a best of 5. That will take place next week. The way it'll go is we'll start with Control. We'll get some Escort in there as well, and then we'll have Assault to wrap it up. And I'm very curious to see, as you mentioned, I think the big question is going to be who that second place team is. I think the Pink Panthers, the Everest, and Blue Springs are all competing at the top, and the Fire Islands can maybe make a surprise run. But I'm very curious, do you have an early lean on who you think your top 2 teams are going to be?
I mean, it's hard not to say the Everest and the Pink Panthers just because they're both coming back from 2 really solid wins in the past weeks. But at the same time, you have to keep an eye on Blue Springs, who has been very consistent and putting up a solid fight. They've won a map against the Everest as well last week when they were the top 2 teams. So I definitely want to keep eyes on Blue Springs, and same with Fire Islands. Like you mentioned, they've been practicing very hard this week, and so they could come out as that underdog position. So I'm very curious to see what happens, especially with kind of how the meta is right now with that Sim Brawl being so strong.
Well, before we kick off our first games, which will all be on Control maps, let's get Doc's keys to the game presented by Esports Tower to take a look at how these teams can come out on top and be in those top 2 spots for next week's grand finals. Those are understand your comp and play style, focus on each fight, get good ultimate value, and objectives are greater than kills at the end of the day. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. We'll kick it off with some round 1 action. We'll start with maybe the 2 best teams, as you mentioned, Brenner. We're going to get Pink Panthers and Everest. They're going to be playing on Lijiang here, and we'll see who comes out on the battle of our 2 most recent champions. Very excited to see this. Pink Panthers, as we said, didn't play last week, so I'm curious if the Everest have maybe caught up to them. And with Sim Brawl, Lijiang Tower, you know that's exactly what we're going to see.
Yeah, Sim Brawl is definitely the meta for Lijiang Tower as a whole with all 3 of its maps. Same with the Cassidy, is very strong. But with Pink Panthers going AME over to the Doomfist, I expect some high-speed plays as he goes right into the backline and takes out Bonesaw.
Does get taken out by, ironically enough, not Doomfist, so it's a 1-for-1 DPS trade. And the Everest have pretty much taken control of the point. They force the Pink Panthers back. They get their Sim turrets down, and Immortality Field will be used as well by not Doomfist. And looks like the Everest are in pretty much complete control. We'll see what the Pink Panthers want to do as the Everest start off in control at the point, and Ant Matrix already going down. We can see Chum is fun now trying to jump in. Another Immortality Field goes down as Gambler gets the first kill onto Despacito, dying with that Symmetra ult online, and that is enough for Diamond Dog to take one off the edge, and it looks like Pink Panthers come out on top.
Yeah, even though Pink Panthers were not able to get set up on the point first, they definitely were able to out-sustain the Everest. Definitely having that Zarya and the Symmetra to burn through D.Va, who can't even use her defense matrix at all. Same with AME going with a great trade against Bonesaw. That Doomfist can get back to the fight so much quicker than a Cassidy can. So going into this next fight, I hope to see Bonesaw last a lot longer.
They try and catch AME out, who is looking for a cheeky flank. Nice pin onto Despacito, and that is the first elimination. A double shatter will also come out for Blade On, who is able to absolutely win that tight with ease for his team.
Yeah, that shatter definitely set them up for success. Now something the Everett's hopefully kept track of, and especially now that they use it, that's something they need to follow. Now with the sound barrier coming online, especially with Pink Panthers having such a big ult advantage compared to the Everests, they have to watch out for AME, and eliminating them this early on will definitely secure them the next team fight.
AME forced to use the Meteor Strike defensively. Both sound barriers end up coming out, as well as the photon barrier there from Despacito, and it's Bonesaw who gets a bit of revenge. They put the teleporter down, but they're going to teleport right into a grab from Conspiracy. An absolute ton of damage. Diva Bomb will go off from Chum is Fun, but it's not going to be able to pick up anybody. The Deadeye is stopped immediately. A shatter from Diamond Dog lands just onto Conspiracy, who does get taken out. But it looks like in the end, teleporting right into that grab is what wins the fight for the Pink Panthers.
Yeah, Pink Panthers had both the ult advantage and the spawn advantage, with AME being eliminated first. He can come right back, and the Everests just lost their DPS too quickly, and once that photon barrier went down, they did not have the mobility to go back and forth and exchange the damage that the Pink Panthers just had free reign on. So as we close in on that 90%, it's going to be pretty much a full dive for the Everests if they want to even have a chance at winning this best of one.
They will swap over to the Pharmacy, try and stay up in the air, as Despacito does get the first pick onto AME. Bonesaw trying to build a last-second rocket barrage. Overtime does start. A great shatter is going to land onto Chum is Fun, but a 4-man anti-nade from Not Doomfist is going to absolutely wreak havoc on the back line of the Pink Panthers, with Bonesaw getting boosted by Pando this entire time. Unfortunately, AME will take out that Mercy, and despite the fantastic play of Not Doomfist and Bonesaw, it looks like the Pink Panthers will come away with this point. They do have to recap it, but I don't know if anyone gets back in time.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard fight, and his Diamond Dog on this Wrecking Ball can go as fast as he needs to. And definitely have to keep an eye on the Pink Panthers, with AMEs just being able to wreak havoc in the squishy targets on these rotations as well.
Diamond Dog looking to stall here. Everybody for the Everest just kind of running in, sacrificing their life to try and keep this game going, try and get a miraculous pick, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to get there, as AME Conspiracy pick up the final 2 kills, and Pink Panthers will win our first map here between the battle of our former champions.
Yeah, it's strong for showing on the first map of Lijiang Tower, but since Lijiang Tower is a best of 3, it does give the oh my gosh, the Everest the best chance of coming back, as they did have a strong showing as well. They did get on point, but as soon as Pink Panthers rotated out, regrouped and pushed back in, they were winning that team fight consistently and had the better ult charge then. So the Everest going over for the team comp swamp definitely hurt them, because they lost that ult percentage of what very little they did have in their toolbox. So going into this, I hope to see them stick to it, even when they're losing, just so the ults could come in and be a factor.
We don't see a Symmetra this time for the Pink Panthers. The Everest will keep Despacito on that sim. We'll see if they're maybe able to win that first fight, set up the turrets, and Bonesaw with a great start gets a pick onto AME. But unfortunately, Hattori and Blade on get in on the back line, take out 3 members of the Everest combined. Conspiracy does go down, but unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be another reset for the Everest without their main tank.
Yeah, Pink Panthers went hard brawl, and not sim brawl, but more of a get-in-your-face type brawl. Especially with both the Brig and the Lucio with the Winston. They can dive your backline, and then Ryan will pull up the front, as we're seeing right now.
Bladon gets another elimination on the Diamond Dog. You never want to lose that Ryan v. Ryan if you want your team to be able to come back. But Bonesaw does take out AME, just trying to get that spam in on the back line of the Pink Panthers. Good 2-man shatter does come out from Bladon, who's been playing spectacular so far early on in this series. As Despacito goes down, we get a Riptire that comes out right off the rip. Gets a double kill for Bonesaw before he is taken out, but all this fighting taking place off the point, so Pink Panthers already up to about 20%.
Yeah, it's hard when you can't even get onto the point to fight, so it's just free percentage for the Pink Panthers, and especially going into his not having the ult advantage, they can still come out on top if they have the right target priority onto the members who have the ults.
We see a sound barrier. The aggro sound barrier came out there from Lyric. Photon barrier used for Despacito, but unfortunately it was not enough. Conspiracy just jumped in on the back line. Even with the trap, they're able to get basically a full team wipe. I think not Doomfist will spawn in time to prevent the team kill, but what a great aggro sound barrier for the Pink Panthers.
Yeah, Bonesaw on this Junkrat, we've seen multiple times, takes out AME first, but he's probably the one person you don't want to take out first, since he can get back so quickly. With the high speed of the Pink Panthers, you need to get close to a team wipe if you want to have a chance at getting the point quickly as we engage with the Primal Rage.
Primal Rage is used. A nice double shatter onto both tanks for the Pink Panthers there from Diamond Dog. But Conspiracy and Blade on down. This looks like it could be the Everest chance to get back in this game. We have a couple more of eliminations, and they're going to flip the point just at about 71%. And they'll put themselves in charge.
Yeah, like I said, they had to get that near team wipe, and they got 4 down, which allowed them to rotate, and then they quickly took out AME, and Lyric just simply had to evacuate there with that Lucio on the wall speed. So we're going to open up with the Amplification Matrix and only take out AME. Once again, AME's constantly getting picked up really early on, but it's not really hurting the Pink Panthers as they have such a high damage brawl comp.
Bonesaw waiting for that Riptire, going to be up here in just a few moments. Hopefully looking to replicate his success with another multi-kill. There is AME who respawned coming in on the flank, gets denied before it can even pop the Meteor Strike, but the rest of the Pink Panthers are going to go in. Double shatter does land from Blade on, but there's no backup from the rest of the team. They will just get absolutely dominated, and AME starting to cost his team a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely been in a struggle for AME, and he's not even willing to swap off that Doomfist so far because he wants to use that Meteor Strike, but sometimes if it's such a lost cause and they're reading your plays so well, especially with Bonesaw here just destroying these rotations, getting a ton of free damage, this Riptires is going to be scary.
There comes the Riptire. It is a sound barrier from Lyric, so Bonesaw looks like he's waiting that one out. I don't know if the Riptire is going to find anything. It will, of course, find AME when actually just taking out Bonesaw. Diamond Dog's going to land a nice double shatter. The Death Blossom comes out from Hattori, but can't find any value as Pando's Rally keeps everybody alive. It's a 2-for-2 trade, but it's the main tanks that are down for the Pink Panthers. There's that Meteor Strike from AME that we have been waiting for. Does not find much value. Diamond Dog trying to hang on. A great flash there from Despacito. Ends up killing Diamond Dog, and even without their tanks in most of that fight, it looks like the Pink Panthers are going to win that and flip the point.
Yeah, they have the stronger brawl with the sustain of Reaper having that free lifesteal along with the Brig Rhine, essentially 2v2 mirror match. Pink Panthers came out on top because they had the higher damage output and the better healing from the Lucio with that AoE. You know, not Doomfist has been pulling his weight as main healer, but I think Pando needs to be dealing more damage as that Brig for this next fight.
And Matrix does go down. Primal Rage and Shatter both going to be popped. Immortality Field trying to keep everybody on the Everest alive, but as they get forced out of it by Conspiracy, they start falling in short order. Here's the Hail Mary Riptire for Bonesaw. All it does is get the Winston. And now once again, much like we saw on map number 1, the Everest are installed, just trying to keep overtime alive, trying to hope for a miracle pick. Despacito does get one, but unfortunately, no one can get to the point in time. I think AME ended up stopping Chum Is Fun, and the Pink Panthers will come out victorious here on our first match.
Yeah, good returning match that you want to see from the Pink Panthers, especially after being gone for a week, but it seems they definitely still had their practice in, so the Everett's will not be able to beat them this time around, but they definitely had a good showing. They got up to that 87% as well, so I definitely am hopeful to see them continue on in the next match.
Well, in our next match will be the other two teams that we did not get to see. It'll be Blue Springs High School and Fire Islands. They'll also be on Lijiang, and we'll kind of get to see where our hierarchy is going to be. Again, Everest and Pink Panthers were returning champions. Pink Panthers won that, but map 2 was very, very close. Now we're going to see our other two teams. Blue Springs made it to the finals last week. Fire Islands, we've been told, have put a lot of practice in. They're trying to improve. They're trying to get better. I would not be shocked if they have a better performance here this week. So whenever we're ready, I think we're going to hop into Blue Springs and Fire Islands. And what do you want to see from either of these teams here on Lijiang to kind of match what you just saw from the other two teams on Lijiang?
I definitely want to see some more of the Pink Panther side of not always going that sim brawl, because that's something we see in the higher levels of our own Boise State games. Of the sim brawl is the way to go for Lijiang Tower, because it is such a strong team composition on that map, because her teleporter plays so well with it, and as soon as she gets on point, she can throw down those 3 turrets and just start burning people down, because she does almost as much damage as a full beam Zarya. So I definitely enjoy seeing team comps that can break away from that meta and say, hey, we're just as good as the meta, and sometimes we even beat it. And that's what Pink Panthers did exactly there. So I hope these next two teams, especially with Fire Islands putting in so much practice, have developed their own strategy for this map.
The other thing with the sim brawl that you have to remember is a lot of times if you lose if you're both running sim and you lose with the Symmetra, sometimes it's better to just swap off because she does have, more of a supportive ultimate. Besides the teleport, you don't get much value, and as we saw on our first map, sometimes you just teleport right into a grab, and that's not exactly what you want to happen. So that's the other thing. If you are going to run sim brawl, make sure you get off the Symmetra if you do lose that first fight because she just loses value immediately. But here we go. Blue Springs taking on Fire Island here. We jump right into it, right in the middle of a team fight. So far, everybody alive. The Radius boss loses the mech and immediately is gunned down shortly after. Immortality Field does come out from Man, trying to keep the rest of his team alive. As Bandeli gets an elimination onto Shadow Soul, and unfortunately, looks like Blue Springs is going to start off with control of the point here and start to make quick work of things. They try for the teleport flank on the back line there from Shroomy, but it looks like they're just going to run right in to the rest of Blue Springs.
Yeah, it seems that we are going to have a mirror match here, other than the Cassidy and the Junkrat. And it seems that Junkrat is not being able to match the damage output of the Cassidy, as he just has way more utility, especially with the flashbang going up against a Reinhardt. He can throw it above and just remove the shield for the time being, rather than Junkrat that's going for the equation as amazing plays coming out.
Yeah, Brett just dominating the kill feed, gets the 3-man flame strike through the amp, and Blue Springs now not letting Fire Islands get much going.
Yeah, and this is what you want to see when you have point controls. You want to push up to their spawn, so they only have the 3 methods of engaging, so you're taking the fight on your terms.
Gonna pick onto Frozen Phoenix. Nox's Immortality Field will fall, as well as Nox immediately. And after the Fire Islands, what's the best way to break this? I mean, because it's not a close spawn hold, but it still can be very, very difficult.
I mean, as you mentioned, once the Symmetra is not working, even though you have the Photon Barrier, you pop it down and swap off. Something like a Mei could work really well here. Split up the team with your wall and start freezing people to take them out of the fight, and keep yourself alive so your healers can focus on your tanks who have been eliminated first in almost every team fight.
Both Photon Barriers will go down as Fire Islands gets a huge, I think that's a 6-man shatter from Frozen Phoenix, catches Blue Springs off guard. That's another way to break a close spawn hold, I guess. Brenner's just landed probably the best shatter you'll ever see.
Yeah, definitely in this matchup that we've seen from any of the past weeks from these 2 teams, or 4 teams for that matter, and good on Frozen Phoenix after being the first one down in most of the team fights, to coming back and getting that near 6-man shatter is nothing less of impressive. But now you have to watch out for Brett, because he's going to have to try to one-up that.
Oh, Brett gets an elimination onto Shadow Soul. Frozen Phoenix is now down as well. Man will throw down the sound barrier, trying to keep Fire Islands alive while Shroomy and Frozen Phoenix respawn, but unfortunately Nox will go down as well. Radius boss does get the remech off, but Fire Islands just simply running out of resources. Overtime will be forced. Frozen Phoenix now on that wrecking ball just to try and get on the point. A Diva Bomb from Radius boss will unfortunately only find the Immortality Field. And much like we saw in our last matchup, Fire Islands will throw themselves at the point, trying for a Hail Mary pick, trying to stay in this game. But as you see the kills rack up in the kill feed for Blue Springs, it looks like we're going to a map 2 with Blue Springs up 1.
Yeah, Fire Islands had to go full stall there, as they did not have the percentage in their favor, and Blue Springs will take it. Clear on this Cassidy has definitely been the game changer going up against Fire Islands, because their Junkrat was simply not getting enough value. You see in that final fight, once he had the tire, it was simply eliminated from that flame strike. As we take a look at this shatter once again, and it was a 6-man shatter, which definitely gave Fire Islands the fight that they needed to take the point, but they did ultimately lose. So going into this next map, they still have a chance, as this is a best of 3 for Control. So sticking to the sim brawl, but they are going over to the main now, so I think they will be able to fight on point much longer. They just have to get there first and win that first fight.
We talked about the Fire Islands putting that practice in. Nice 6-man shatter shows you that. If both teams will teleport right on top of the point, but the damage heavily in Blue Springs' favor. You see all the low health bars for Fire Island, the Immortality Field from Nox helping them sustain as long as possible. Brett has already built up a shatter and lands a 4-man stun onto Fire Islands, and that is just the Rhine play from Brett coming in huge.
Yeah, Brett's definitely saying, all right, you can get a 6-man shatter. I can get a team wipe as the first fight. we saw them get onto point, but they were not there first. Blue Springs got there first, got at least 2 of the sim turrets down, and just started beaming them down. When we saw Shadow Soul on the wrong side of his team, essentially, he on the opposite side of the Rhine, that's not what you want to see, and got eliminated first. Your Mei needs to be one of the last people taken out, especially as a Mei, to stall. So going to this next fight, this Mei needs to play much safer.
Oh, Red has been insane with these Ant Matrix Flame Strike combos. Picks up a double kill, takes down the Mei as well, and I think Fire Islands needs to be aware of when that Ant Matrix comes down and find a way to line of sight it.
Yeah, even shattering their own spawn when no one was there is getting a bit cheeky for even my taste, as now even the photon barriers getting pulled out here. Blue Springs is having a field day right now.
Blue Springs maybe looking to teleport back, as Shroomy does get an elimination odd to clear, throws down their own photon barrier. Does open things up for an attempted push, but Vandelli will get the snipe from downtown onto Shroomy and take care of the rest of their sentry turrets. And Immortality Field from Nox, barely keeping Frozen Phoenix alive. It goes down. We'll see how long Fire Islands can survive. They have a nice alt lineup here of the Shatter and the Sound Barrier. But the Ant Matrix comes down. A 3-man Shatter from Frozen Phoenix. Unfortunately, they had to run right through that Ant Matrix, and that is just going to cost them dearly.
Yeah, you want to zone out the Ant Matrix. There's other doors to exit out of, but everyone's just going right through the middle and not even using the Sim Teleport. And Fire Islands needs to change up the strat. Even with only 90%, the Sim Mei isn't working. And clearly Blue Springs has a one-up on you, so what can you do to get around that, especially with the Diva that's going to deny the anti-air? Something like even the Doom and Sombra could try to throw Blue Springs for a loop.
Vandelli's going to drop down the photon barrier. Man will use a sound barrier here in overtime. So will Cone, as both members try and keep their teams alive. And it looks like it's Blue Springs that will come out on top here. They're already up 2. And the rest of Fire Islands not long for this world with a fantastic team kill. Overtime will end in Blue Springs. Keep pace with the Pink Panthers there with a nice win over the Fire Islands. Well, you know, going at it alone can only get you so far. Ultimately, if you want to increase your chances of success, you have to level up your teaming skills. We saw that really from both teams. Some fantastic Ant Matrix Flame Strike combos from Blue Springs, but a fantastic follow-up on the 6-man Shatter from Frozen Phoenix. You can really see how talented both these teams are. The Esports Tower really takes time to create teams of well-matched teammates. Give a shout-out to the coaches, and if you're watching, haven't checked out Esports Tower clubs, that you should. It is the fast track to rank up. We have 2 games in the book. We've got a few more games to go in our round robin. Brenner, before we take a quick break, your quick thoughts on those 2 matches we saw.
First match was definitely a much closer fight between the 2 reigning champs, essentially, of the prior weeks, looking for that second championship. And Blue Springs still showing why they were consistently in that second or even third place. Whereas Fire Islands, that practice definitely did pay off, and we saw them get that 6-man Shredder and have some solid team fights. But they definitely still got some ways to go, and I'm excited to see where they continue to push forward to.
Well, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have our round 2 games here in the Esports Tower Rumble, part 1 of week 3, round robin games to determine seeding, to determine our grand finals. It's all coming up right after this break.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back into this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. It's week 3, round robin stage. We'll have our grand finals next week, and we're broadcasting it live from the Boise State Game Fans Esports Arena. Up next, we have our round 2 games in our round robin stage. We'll get the 2 Esports Tower teams, Everest and Fire Islands, taking on each other, and then we'll get Pink Panthers and Blue Springs facing off as well. Fish and Brenner calling all of your action. And those 2 matchups, Brenner, which one are you more excited to see? Are Fire Islands Everest or Blue Springs taking on the Pink Panthers?
Definitely Blue Springs Panthers, as that is the 2 winners of the prior rounds. And especially with how well Blue Springs was performing, we keep mentioning how well Bread on that Reinhardt was performing. I'm definitely curious how when they're going up a team that might be a higher skill level than them, how they might perform as well going up against that challenge. And so with these 2 teams, hopefully not even going to be a mirror match, because Pink Panthers was playing a bit more unorthodox that we've seen in the past, and how they handle each other.
Before we hop into the games, though, we do want to take a moment to congratulate all of the Esports Tower Club members who have graduated from the clubs and have been offered scholarships across the country. Over the last 3 months, Esports Tower Club members have received over $1.2 million in scholarships awards. These students have not only worked hard on their in-game play, but have worked hard academically as well and have earned these scholarship opportunities. We could not be more excited and proud to see all of the opportunities these players are getting, and hopefully, you never know, maybe some of these players that we're watching here, I know we've talked about Clear, one of the players that we've seen in these Rumbles, has been talking to Boise State and verbally committed to the Broncos. So that number only going to be growing more and more, and there's more and more names that hopefully we'll be able to recognize. Brenner, it always is the toughest thing with some of these kids is they get to college and they're like, well, I don't want to be Bread anymore. I want to be Toast. And you're like, wow, that guy's really good. Have we ever seen him before? So hopefully they don't change their names so we can follow their progress. So always the hardest part was when they change their names.
Yeah, we definitely have an issue with that, but as long as we know who is who, I think we can make that change, as we're having to do with McCree and Cassidy right now. Of just they're the same person. It's just hurting our brain every so often. So definitely going into these next games, it's definitely we're gonna have to watch out for some of these players, as we saw that here. A lot of improvement has been made, and how much more can they keep going, especially since they are in high school and they have so much ahead of them, and especially being as good as they are right here and now. Oh, I'm very curious where this could lead them.
Well, before we hop into our second round of game, let's throw it over to Doc's keys of the game. A little bit of a reminder both for the teams that won and for the teams that lost, how they can turn things around. And in Overwatch, those are understand your comp and playstyle, focus on each fight, get good ultimate value, and at the end of the day, the objective greater than the kills, because that is what will win you the match. It's brought to us by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. Start off with our battle of the Esports Tower teams. It is going to be the Everest taking on Fire Islands. Both teams looking for a win here on Ilios to have a chance of making it out of the group stage after dropping in round 1. And we'll see what they can do as Bonesaw is on that Echo this time. We've got a bit of a change of a comp here for the Everest. No sim for either team as Despacito on that Ashe is able to pick up the first kill. On to Shadow Soul. Man can man the next target of focus. You can see Bonesaw chasing him down, able to get that elimination. There is the hero for the Fire Islands, though. Frozen Phoenix very deadly with the shatters, and a couple of antis land as well from Nox. But I think in the end, looks like it's more Bonesaw value as he be able to get an elimination onto 4 members of the Fire Islands.
Yeah, it's going to be all on Rady about us to deal with Bonesaw, as he's the main one with verticality, and now it seems Nox wants to help him out on the Baptiste, whereas Shadow Soul won't really be able to do the best damage there with the Reaper shotguns, but it seems Shroomy is also changing it up, and Frozen Phoenix and Rady Boss even swapped it up, so Fire Island's changing everything up to combat the Everest team comp right now. Oh, and it seems the Echo Mercy has definitely been paying off for them.
And Matrix goes down from not Doomfist, which is something that plagued the Fire Islands in our first match, as Despacito up on one of those pillars. Taking quite a bit of damage from Shroomy, gonna get right up in his face, shotgun him away, and then a headshot on the man-can-man, and it's another one team fight for the Everests.
Yeah, first team fight was Bonesaw's highlight. Now it is all about Despacito on the Ashe, who already has the bot built up. So the Everests once again have that huge ult advantage since Fire Island swapped off so many roles and heroes. So things are not looking good for them, as already the Everests have that near 60%.
Duplicate does come out from Bonesaw onto the Reinhardt, has a shatter available, gonna throw it down, only will land onto Frotus and Phoenix, however, but the mech is able to survive, but unfortunately the Everest just keep shoving them back and building up over 70%.
Yeah, just a lot of poke damage being exchanged. We saw the duplicate attempt, but not a whole lot you want to see come out of such a strong ult like that. But when you're pushing up against the spawn of the Fire Islands, and they're just simply not able to put up that fight that allows them to push past it, and having to commit so much to the Bob as Radius Boss just dies by himself.
Frozen Phoenix is able to take out that Bob, but that's about all the value Fire Islands will get. They'll pop a couple of ultimates. They will get reset, though, as the Valkyrie and the Supercharger comes out, and they're not even able to force overtime, so map 1 on Ilios will go over to the Everests.
Yeah, Everest definitely utilized that verticality element, both with the Ashe and the Echo and the Mercy and the Diva. The Orisa was the solid ground control, and even the Baptiste was able to jump up when needed, whereas the Fire Islands were mainly stuck to the ground for so long that it just cost them dearly. They weren't able to answer really the verticality momentum from the Everests. So going into this next map, hopefully it is not as vertically challenged for the Fire Islands, or that they've learned how to adapt to it, seeing as Shroomy on the Soldier was not able to make the difference.
Well, speaking of verticality, it looks like the Everests, well, for a moment there, thought about challenging it. They flexed the Pharmacy, but end up switching to the Sim and the Sombra. Now, as soon as the teleporter goes down, though, they'll bring out the Fire and the Mercy. So, once again, going to be up to Shroomy and Frozen Phoenix there to be able to deal with this verticality play and the sky aerial play of Bonesaw, as the Everests look to pick up a win here, stay alive for a chance to make the grand finals. And Hack is going to go out onto Radius Boss and not able to jump away. And that is the first elimination, as Diamond Dog able to pick that one up. And the Everest starting out strong here with a couple of kills. Oh, Nox barely staying alive, but doesn't have another team, and is just going to get burned down here by this Tesla cannon, I think.
Yeah, the team compound, the Everest, looks much better than the Fire Islands, as they have a very strong healer base, and even when one of them gets taken out, they still have high heals for at least one person, whether it is the Ana or the Mercy. And the Anti-Nade is going to do a lot more value rather than the Lucio speed boost or the amplification matrix. The immortality field gets burned down way too quickly, but having an anti not allowing them to be healed allows you to secure the elimination, whereas Fire Islands are going for kind of the sustain, and losing Lucio is not how you want to start it.
Bonesaw right behind him, picking up a double kill. Shroomy does at least get one, but is going to get shot from the sky as he tries to run away, and Panda will just simply revive him. Oh, nice shot from Bonesaw in mid-air, and the Everest, much like we saw in map 1, pretty dominant here early on.
Yeah, you're already seeing that verticality element paying off for Bonesaw on this Pharmacy comp. Especially having the pocketed damage boost is what you want to see, and this Hanzo or Shroomy for that matter haven't really had an answer because they've been paying attention on what's in front of them, not what's above them. We saw a little distraction on the point there, but was not able to make the difference, as a great 4-man EMP kicks things off. And
the double kill from Bonesaw is going to wrap things up there. Is even looking for the punch onto Radius Boss. Don't know if getting in melee range of a Reinhardt the best play on a Pharah, but even with Pharah respawning, I think the Everests are still safe and happy with how that fight went.
Yeah, now with only the sights being your only ultimate, and he's kind of pushed up all by himself right now. Now we see one member kind of on the other side of the map, I believe. So right now it is more just they need to regroup and have a solid push as all the ults are coming out.
They nano Bonesaw on the Rocket Barrage, only able to pick up one. Tactical Visor is activated, but Shroomy won't even see Bonesaw, who gets that elimination. And That probably was the last fight, as everybody for Fire Islands is going to get wiped. Radius Boss realizes that, has to get onto the point, but cannot get close. And the Everest will pick up a win here on Ilios and move to 1-1.
Yeah, that's definitely, I don't want to say expected, but predicted, as the Everest have just been such a strong team in the Fire Islands, got really split up there and didn't really have a cohesive plan going into it, because one thing that we touch on in Doxy's game, understand your comp and your playstyle, and when you go at it, first team fight, lose it, and then immediately change everything, and once again it doesn't work, you clearly don't have a base understanding of, all right, here's what we need to do, rather than let's just keep going until something works or we have our ults. But even your ults weren't making the difference, so Fire Islands definitely have a lot to work on, and I hope to see them improve in the future.
Well, we'll make a slight change in the map style. We'll now go over to Escort, and it'll be the two teams that picked up wins in our first round. It'll be the Pink Panthers taking on Blue Springs. It'll be on Junkertown here, and potentially the top seed of the group on the line here, as both these teams find themselves at 1-0. And we know the Pink Panthers, they've already won one, Brenner. The Blue Springs came close. So I think the Pink Panthers pull this out. I mean, what are your expectations for our final match here in round 2?
I mean, we know Blue Springs has a lot of very skilled, high-level players. Clear and Brad are the two that stand out the most on their team. But at the same time, we have Pink Panthers that don't really have, you know, the ace in their pocket, but instead their whole team of, we know exactly how each other works, we know how to push, we know the team comp, we know how to counter things. So it's really going to be the individual versus the team. And I think on something like Junkertown, whether who's on defense or attack, it's going to come down to winning those 1v1s, as we see so consistently here with even Boise State. We have really high individual level, but the team play is the struggle. And we've seen that in the past where we struggle with it. But once you get good at the team play, you're next to unbeatable. So I'm definitely keeping eyes on Pink Panthers to win this.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Pink Panthers are a very coordinated team. Team play is one of the things really separating themselves, with the Blue Springs maybe more individual talent, maybe able to pull off an incredible solo play and turn things around. That'll be kind of what we're going to keep our eyes on here. As we said, we are moving over to Escort now. It will be on Junkertown, which is a map that you don't see too often, and we see the Pink Panthers here with a bit of Bastion cheese. You get the Bastion up on the high ground, and you can kind of just farm people right out of the spot.
Yeah, definitely a close hold. Pink Panthers going for a bit risky, as that Diva was able to get away, but having the roof for cover is what you want to see as this strat, along with the Symmetra teleport. And already Blue Springs is going to have to change up the team comp ever so slightly, so Bread's now on the SIG from the Rhine. But these two snipers have not been able to even leave the spawn door to get any damage out, so Pink Panther's stall is working flawlessly for them.
We haven't even seen Bandelli peek his head out yet, as Even Noodles does get an elimination onto Conspiracy with the Sigma down. Things go from good to bad for the Pink Panthers, as they'll have to retreat, as you see Hattori wave goodbye. Clear currently being 1v1 by Bladon, though, on that wrecking ball, able to roll around, did not fall off the map. So unfortunately, those snipers from Blue Springs still being denied, as here comes Bladon, going to jump right on the rest of the team. Can't quite find him, though. Does see Bread, who is eliminated by Hattori, but Bandelli finally able to make it out of their own spawn. Picks up a couple of great headshots, another kill onto Hattori, and this Widowmaker playing phenomenally right now.
Yeah, again, just to touch on, they have fantastic individual play, and it looks like Bread wants that 1v1 between the wrecking balls right now. Oh, and I'm curious if that'll be able to come out here, as the Pink Panthers have kind of had to retreat and go for a regroup, as Blue Springs have taken a lot of space and should have two people on the cart to push as quickly as possible with how big of a map Junkertown is and how open it is. But it looks like we're also going to have the Widow 1v1s. But Bandelli has definitely been a threat to be reckoned with, especially having the wall hacks on right now. But he has to deal with his wrecking ball first.
Emperor Sights does fade. A nice distraction there as AME picks up a double kill, with Bladon kind of providing the initial push. AME gets another one. A Diva bomb here from KC Vet, not able to find anything. Should be able to remech, though, is this baby Diva, but the Pink Panthers finally stopped that push.
Yeah, they committed the nano into AME, who just came up from behind, was able to get those early eliminations for that team fight. So now having to regroup, Blue Springs still has the ult advantage and can easily get to the first checkpoint if they play this right, and especially getting rotations onto that baby Diva could help start them, as already clears down.
Hattori will get destroyed by KC Vet, who had been just waiting in the background that whole time until his team spawned. Transcendence is going to come out from Lyric there, and a rally from Cone will be used as well. And recognizing the threat that Bandelli poses to the rest of his team, Bladon will simply run down that Widowmaker before joining the rest of the Pink Panthers, who have burned off the majority of the time. We are down to the final minute here for Blue Springs.
Yeah, they need to start pressing their ults here if they want to be able to get this first checkpoint, as Clear is getting taken out so early on. Not being able to use the double dragons with only a minute remaining is hurting his team so badly. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple hero swaps here on the side of Blue Springs so they can get to the point and at least contest it to get into overtime.
There is Clear with that Dragon Strike available. Bladon picks up an elimination onto KC Vet, and Clear has got to be careful. Has Bread right in front of him, takes a huge chunk of damage from Hattori now on that Widowmaker. Final 30 seconds here. Sonic Arrow does come out, sees a couple of members, but Clear's got to drop this Dragon Strike if they want a chance to win.
Yeah, it's pretty much come down to this Dragon Strike as the wall hacks are coming out from Pink Panther. They even are going to commit the Bob, and soon to be Gratific Flux, I would believe, once they get onto point. It's finally Blue Springs is using their ults.
Fortunately, Bob ran off the edge, so Bob will not contribute anything to this fight, as the Nano will go out onto AME, is able to eliminate Bandelli. The Gravitic Flux from Conspiracy will stop Bread, and it looks like a stall coming out here from Blue Springs, and they are not able to even find the first checkpoint thanks to a great early stall from the Pink Panthers.
It's hard not to be mad at Clear for not using the Dragon Strike the entire time. You didn't have a Zarya, so you couldn't set up for that great team play. You have to get 1 or 2 eliminations at best just so you can get value out of the ult, but not using it at all was detrimental to Blue Springs, so they definitely should be shaking their heads at that if it was a miscommunication or he was just simply waiting for the wrong moment. So we're seeing essentially the play of that round going over to Landon on that Wrecking Ball. So going into this next time with Blue Springs now on the defense, all eyes are going to be on Clear, who's now on the Widow this time around, and we saw Cone also on the Ashe. So it seems that they're sticking to the snipers that they were successful on, but Clear's going to change it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time in Doc's keys to the game. You got to get good ult value. Now, sometimes that means swapping off a hero when the ult's not going to work, but, you know, as you mentioned, I don't know if they were waiting for the perfect Dragon Strike. I don't know what the call was, but that's definitely something to keep an eye on here. As you mentioned, they do swap it up just a little bit. The Pink Panthers going to go with a bit of the pirate ship there, get Hattori on the point and let him keep pushing. But it's AME and Gambler who are the first ones eliminated early on.
Yeah, and it seems the Pink Panthers pirate ship is working so far, as he's not even on the cart right now, but it seems it is just Conspiracy on the cart. And even a little cheeky wave coming out from Clear on the Widow here. They're trying to pick off any damage you can, but it's not going to happen against either member, as Hattori gets the elimination from around the edge and even says hi himself. So Pink Panthers definitely are probably going to get to that point quicker than Blue Springs would like them, simply because Blue Springs has to get on the ground and start contesting it.
Yeah, Blue Springs is nowhere close. Now we finally see Bread is able to get over there. Clear will go down. They'll try and stall out now as long as possible, though Gambler and Bladon are able to pick up a couple of kills. Conspiracy still alive. They almost have the whole hog here for the Pink Panthers, and they're able to get it at 64%. And it looks like the rest of the members will just simply be pushed off the point, and the Pink Panthers, the pretty dominant win there on Junkertown, move to 2-0. Probably going to secure the top seed in the group, but we'll see how round 3 goes. Well, if you want to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers, then join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights with our featured Rumbles recruiters taking notice as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. On to our final round here of the Rumble. Pink Panthers at 2-0, Blue Springs and the Everest at 1-1, and those two teams will be meeting on Assault to determine probably who's going to our grand finals against the Pink Panthers. But quickly before we go to break, Brenner, your thoughts on what we saw from those round 2 matchups?
In those final matchups, I definitely think it hurt Blue Springs' kind of mentality. They played very split up, and so did the Pink Panthers, but they were just constantly getting beaten by the Pink Panthers, and the sniper meta was not working. They didn't even have time to change up because they never had a solid defense in the first place, or even attack for that matter. So I think going into round 3, these teams need to improve on kind of understanding their comp and play style to match the skill level of the Pink Panthers of what they've been showing so far. So definitely still room for improvement in week 3.
Well, we will take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be the final round of our round robin, and we'll know who's going to next week's grand finals. You don't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. We got our last action of this week's round robin coming up right after this break.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back into this broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch, broadcasting it live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Our third round of our round robin will kick off on Assault. And we'll get just one game to look at here, but it is a big one. It'll be the Blue Springs and the Everest. The winner will go to the grand finals. The loser will see their week 3 dreams come to rest. Fish and Brenner here calling all of the action. And what a better way, Brenner, to determine who goes to the grand finals than everybody's favorite game mode, Assault.
Yeah, Assault definitely the snowballing mix that we know and love. So it's going to be hard fought for either of these teams, especially with Blue Springs and Everett. It's that we saw in week 2 just have a very close grand finals. So now in round 3 of them going up against each other again is going to be a tight race, especially after Blue Springs just coming back from, well, both teams essentially coming back from a loss, losing to the Pink Panthers. They definitely have something to prove here, going to try to win this kind of second place spot to the Pink Panthers that it seems it's going to be right now.
Yeah, and more pressure on the Everest as well. The Everest have never actually missed a grand final. First week, they took on the Pink Panthers. Second week, they took on and defeated Blue Springs. So we kind of get that revenge matchup, as Brenner mentioned, and the Everest looking to make their third straight grand finals. Well, for one more time, let's start over to Doc's keys of the game so we can let both the Everest and Blue Springs know the best way to secure their spot in next week's grand finals. And those are understand your comp and play style, focus on each fight, get good ultimate value, and objective over kills, especially on Assault, though usually those two go hand in hand in this mode. These are all presented by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. It's Blue Springs High School. Take it on the Everest. It's on Temple of Anubis. Winner goes on to next week's Grand Finals, face off against the Pink Panther. Loser will unfortunately just have to take that week to practice, keep training, and hopefully get better for week number 4. And we've seen both these teams pull off wins. We've seen both these teams pull off, unfortunately get defeated by the Pink Panthers, Brenner. So, you know, I've been asking you all night who you favor and who do you like going into this game that has a lot on the line.
I definitely favor the Everett's going into this. As you've mentioned, they haven't missed a Grand Finals yet, so they definitely are coming from a much stronger position, having beaten Blue Springs in the past, and Blue Springs has definitely had their shining moments in this week's matchup, going against multiple teams and having kind of those play of the game moments as we've seen from Bread and Clear. But coming off of Junkertown, you know, things are not looking good for Blue Springs, whereas the Everett's did put up a very solid fight in their last matchup. So now going into Temple of Anubis with Clear now on the Ashe and Bendelli on the Hanzo, I'm already liking this comp better, but going up against Everest with Bonesaw on the Genji to contest that high ground is going to be something that you'll have to watch between these two snipers and Bonesaw.
Clear already getting a couple of headshots. Going to throw that dynamite in. Not quite able to land a hit on it, but it is going to, I think, force the Everest to deal with it as they're all stuck down on that low ground. Now they're going to jump in. Diamond Dog taking an Orb of Discord and quite a bit of damage. Bendelli already has the Dragon Strike built up and ready to go. Holding on to it for now as it looks like the Everest are willing to slow play this one. The Nano also already built up for not Doomfist, and it's Bendelli who gets that first elimination. And with your comp built around the Nano Blade and Bonesaw below 40%, it's going to make it very hard to push as the Dragon Strikes pick up a kill onto one member and the mech as Bendelli popping off on this Hanzo.
Yeah, Bendelli is definitely the swap with Clear that you want to see onto this Hanzo, as he used his ult immediately after getting it, or near immediate, and has been getting eliminations onto the key members of the Everest, as now Despacito is going to have to swap off that Sombra over to the Tracer to try to disrupt it, as his hacks were not getting the value you want to see. And especially with Blue Springs having that both Brig and Zen, they have the weak backlines that the Tracer could capitalize on, except for Bendelli's here to eliminate Pando and Bonesaw right off the bat.
And just run right into Bendelli. Two members taken out, and I think that's going to force another reset. And the Everest basically stuck holding onto this Nano until Bonesaw can charge his ult.
Yeah, it's hard to call that even a team fight because two early eliminations just made them have to reset right off the bat. Losing both the healer and the DPS is not what you want to see if you're the Everett's. You have to get a solid team push going, and they might just have to commit that Nano and give up the Nano Blade, as that's exactly what they're going to do.
They'll still Nano Bonesaw, though. I'm assuming maybe to help charge that Blade at least. We'll get a couple of percent, but does get taken out. Brett also picked up an elimination with the minefields that's preventing the retreat from the Everest, as well as Clear's going to get one more, and Blue Springs put on a clinic on how to defend on Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, they've been defending very well, and now with Diamond Dog jumping right onto Clear, who's kind of a bit way too forward, in my opinion, and for a sniper where he should be taking the high ground, especially after Boneside getting some free damage, but quickly getting taken out by Bendelli. Bendelli's been the heart of this defense right now, getting elimination after elimination, with Bread causing all the chaos you want to see from a Wrecking Ball in the back line of the Everett's. They have yet to have a solid push, but now with 3 ults on the board for them going up against the 5 of Blue Springs, things are not looking good with only 50 seconds on the board.
Rally going to be used by both Pando and Cone. As the ultimates start off there, there's a Dragon Strike and Bob getting called in. Pulse Bomb plus the Dragon Blade. Even without the Nano, Bonesaw is able to get decent value as he does get an elimination onto Clear, but that is all he will get without the Nano available. 30 seconds left. The Everest get wiped, and they're going to have one more chance here, but that did cost a lot of ults for Blue Springs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Bendelli be able to farm a 3rd Dragon Strike in this final fight, as his first 2 were just being so well utilized. Even after Clear got eliminated, he still was able to get Bob out in time to just distract the Everett's for that much longer. So they still have both tank ults as well as with the Nano, so they have the ult advantage going into this final fight, but Everett's need to move quickly because they only have 5 seconds.
Holding on to that all, you would expect them probably going to nano the Primal Rage, as the Primal Rage does come out from Diamond Dog. Overtime will start, and Blue Springs looks like they weren't ready for it, as they're going to lose 3 members right off the bat. Chum is Fun going to pop that Diva Bomb. KC Vet probably going to be forced to use his as well, but actually dies to the remake from Chum is Fun. So for all that struggle with zeros on the clock, the Everest will keep this game going.
Yeah, they had that final push. They used their ults well, and that's exactly what you want to see. But now they have to be able to deal with the defensive self-destruct, as they only have the bubble to block it, as well as the Brig Shield with only 250 health. So they could burn through it and try to get a near team wipe with the single ult. And Bandeli's already up to his 3rd charge of Dragon Strike as well, so this defense is going to turn into a siege.
See, there's that Dragon Strike. The rally is going to come out, but it's not enough to keep not Doomfist or Bonesaw alive. Even Noodles will get another elimination, and much like we saw for the most of part point 1, it's an easy win for Blue Springs.
Yeah, but if it's going to be a repeat of the first point, we're going to get into overtime, and it's going to become an all-out brawl, and somehow the Everett's will come out on top. But now with Bonesaw going over to an attack Torb, seems that he's following in Goblin's footsteps of our own Boise strat of an attack Torb. But Despacito on this Ashe is on this Tracer is gonna have a hard time dealing with both Clear and Bandeli. And Bandeli has been very accurate with his arrows as well. Only having that 150 HP is not what you want when going up against a Hanzo, as they open up with the mines from Bray.
Mines get an easy elimination onto Chum. So we see the Immortality Field and turrets both go down as well. Sonic Arrow is going to give away the position of the Everest, as Bob will go charging in. We'll pick up an elimination onto Panda before getting eliminated, and that's going to allow the rest of Blue Springs to go charging in. They will lose 1 member, and maybe their most important is Bandeli gets taken out by Bonesaw, but KC Vet will make up for that, picking up a double kill onto both DPS for the Everest, and Bread and Eva Noodles also coming through with some clutch eliminations.
Yeah, this Torb has definitely not been working out, and that's the perfect use of Bob that you want to see from Clear. Yes, he got an elimination and was immediately eliminated, but that is value that you are not trading one of your own players' lives, but the life of Bob, as that is his role as the ult. So going into this next team fight, Blue Springs does have triple ult, with 2 of them being the support, so they'll be able to stay alive through anything the Everett's can throw at them, as Bonesaw's only at 50% towards that molten core, and it seems that's kind of been their key play for this final push.
See, Clear takes down Despacito. They'll probably get 1 more fight, as the rally in another Dragon Strike will come out from Bandeli. Won't pick up a kill this time. Actually, never mind. It gets a kill onto Not Doomfist at the very end, and looks like Brenner was setting up for what we saw the first time around. 30 seconds left. 1 fight left here potentially for the Everest. Pando's going to start it off with the rally. They pick up a double kill. Bandeli down as well. But Brett this time will get an elimination onto Bonesaw. Even Noodles does have the Transcendence if he needs to stall out for time. Bonesaw eliminated with the Molten Core available. There is that Transcendence, plus a Diva Bomb from KC Vet. Only can take down the Supercharger in Chum's mech. 4 seconds left, and Matrix comes down from Not Doomfist. 1 tick, 2 tick, overtime. Got a contest. Finally gets a tippy toe on the point. I think we're going to get a exact repeat here, Brenner, as it's only Bread and KC Vet, and just like that, the Everest will somehow use every single second in their time, but they will 2-cap here on Assault.
Yeah, they were definitely playing around that Torb, because that Molten Core helped them secure it against Bread, as he was the last member on the point. And also, I have to share that the Tracer Despacito, as well as it worked out, I'm surprised it did with how much he was poking, but he was able to get back on point much quicker than the rest of his team, which definitely helped them go for that final push, as he was eliminated so early on in that final fight. So now with Blue Springs on the attack this way around, we saw Bandeli on the Hanzo be able to defend this first point for way too long, as the Everest took forever to get a solid push and momentum rolling in Assault, as that final second point did end up being a siege until the last second, whether it seems the Everett's kind of come to life in the last few seconds. So now with the Blue Springs going into it, we'll have to see if they either have the same mentality or they go through Assault and kind of the snowball method, as they're sticking to kind of their guns of what we see their team comp run a lot of the times with Cone on the Brig, Bread on the Wrecking Ball, and so on and so forth.
Very curious to see how Blue Spring wants to play this, because of course they know they have to cap to be able to force overtime. If they can do it with over a minute on the clock, Everest won't get that time boost either, so they would be able to only defend, and then we'd force a tie, and we would have to go from there. And I think you're right. It was fantastic play from Bandelli, switching onto that Hanzo that I think Blue Springs maybe could use on Junkertown, because he absolutely denied the Everest 0.1 value for so very long until the very end as we get back into the game. And Despacito has already gotten an elimination, and it looks like both teams struggling a bit here on attack, though. It looks like Bread is in a very cheeky spot.
Yeah, it does not surprise me. Bread's in a cheeky spot as the Wrecking Ball, no less, and is going to go right into the back line of the Everest as Boneside gets an early elimination onto Bandelli. Hey, they need to do something to counteract this pharmacy, as we've seen Bonesaw and Pando just be able to control the skies when we were on Ilios last time around with that Echo. And Farah later on. So the Blue Springs needs to recognize this and do something to deal with it.
They do swap over to the Ash for Bandelli, but I'm not sure Bonesaw has taken a point of damage yet, as he's just picked up elimination after elimination. Finds Bread in the corner. Going to try and gun down this Wrecking Ball, and will be able to. Meanwhile, Despacito gets an elimination onto Bandelli, and it looks like neither of these teams are going to have much fun on attack right now for Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, even staggering out the Baby Diva that much longer, getting all the time in the world. Bandelli trying to swap it up. It still ends up going back to the Hanzo that hasn't worked just yet, but now Clear's going over to the Cassidy to try to get some damage output onto Bonesaw and Pando, with now Noodles trying to spray any damage possible to try to charge Transcendence so that they can have a push. And now with KC Vet also going over to the Sigma, and Bread going over to the Roadhog, Bonesaw's going to just cancel their push out with a Barrage.
Both Clear and Bandelli, I think, look like they were maybe trying to get in range to get the elimination onto Bonesaw during that rocket barrage, and ended up just walking into the missiles. And I'll be very interested to see if the Everest can pull off the full hold, because we saw last time, of course, Blue Springs came oh so close, not once, but twice, to wasting all of the Everest time, but then losing in the final moment. And it feels like deja vu here, honestly, as Blue Springs just cannot even get out of their own spawn.
Yeah, Bonesaw and Panda are having a field day going up against Blue Springs, as they have yet to really be countered here. It seems Blue Springs is waiting to charge up their ults, as they're just now getting Transcendence online, but that's the only one that's even close here. Since Bandelli did do the swap, he lost a lot of early percentage, and now the Everett's having that 3 ult advantage, now 4, soon to be 5 with Diamond Dog coming online. Blue Springs needs to get a pick to make any momentum happen, as they're already playing split with Noodles going off to the right by himself.
Well, they do get a pick onto Bonesaw, which is potentially the most vital member. There is the Transcendence from Even Noodles. Hook not quite able to land there. They're going to nano on a Diamond Dog, who will pop that Primal Rage. Another great pick, though. This time onto Chum is fun. Hook onto the Winston, down under 60 seconds, and now this could be the opening that the Blue Springs were looking for. They get a rally from Cone, the high ground contested there. Great hook onto Despacito. Bob now just spamming in on the rest of the team, though, does get taken out, and it looks like it won't take them quite as long as the Everest, but Blue Springs will eventually should be able to cap this, unless the Everest want one more fight.
Yeah, so after capping this, because I don't believe the Everett's will have time to recontest, since they stagger her not Doomfist for just that little extra long, and only having Pando to contest it. The best Boneside could do is get poked, but he doesn't even need that since he has the ult. So now not Doomfist going over to the Baptiste. See if Blue Springs will be able to snowball like we see in Assault so often. They do have 3 ults very close to coming online, so they could match the Everett's, who already have the 3, as they kick things off with the barrage onto KC Vet.
KC Vet does get taken out by that barrage, and it looks like Blue Springs will just simply opt for the reset instead. As you mentioned, they have 3 ults. The Gravitic Flux is nearly online for a 4th. Everest with just the Valkyrie and the Supercharger. Now Bonesaw back on that Torbjorn, finally maybe realizing that the Farah has run her course. And we'll see how long Blue Springs wants to wait before they go in.
Yeah, so now the Everetts are also going to have to keep their eyes on Pando, who doesn't have that escape method. So if the Mercy is taken out before the Valkyrie is used, or even during the Valkyrie, that is going to be a swap that Blue Springs has to be ready for, and Everest are definitely planning out for sure, as I believe they'll probably even go over to a Brig to Paral on point the best they can, as Bread opens up with the Whole Hog.
Whole Hog does get used, but he does get taken out. Now the rest of Blue Springs is behind the Everest. They do get a pick on a Chumma's phone with a nice flashbang. Despacito is low as well, trying to capture this before less than a minute on the clock. So we get an Ant Matrix coming down from Not Doomfist and that Valkyrie from Pando. Clear, gets jumped on, hits a nice flashbang, tries to fan the hammer, all looking for damage on a Diamond Dog as the Transcendence will now come out from Even Noodles. There is the Deadeye, looking for an elimination onto somebody. Not able to find it as the Gravitic Flux takes down another couple, but the defender respawns for the Everest are so close, unless Blue Springs gets a team wipe or close, they're not going to be able to get much value. There's a Dragon Strike for Bandelli, and with a minute 35 on the clock, Blue Springs will send us to overtime.
Yeah, Clear stayed alive very long on that point, even using the zoning capabilities of Deadeye on the Valk Mercy. So very well played, and Bonesaw swapping over to that Torb did not pay off, as he was doing very well on that far end. Torb had the damage output but could not get through the tanks of Blue Springs. So good on them for that assault map as we head over to overtime, I believe.
Yeah, we'll head over to overtime. Blue Springs will have a minute and 35 seconds on the clock. The Everest will have 0 because Blue Springs is able to cap in time. So the spot in the grand finals looks to be favoring Blue Springs. We'll see what the Everest can do to maybe try and stall this one out and force a draw here on Temple of Anubis as we get ready to go for overtime.
Yeah, so it looks like Blue Springs is back on the attack once again and has to deal with Bonesaw and Pando on this pharmacy once again, but it seems it's going to be all eyes on Clear, as he is their main counter on this team. Same with Noodles, but with him being a healer, he's going to have to prioritize. But with Bread getting such a great early elimination onto Pando, this is the leg up Blue Springs needs.
They will lose Bread, but I think that's a trade they're willing to take, as Pando is now back in the fight, racing back. You can see Bonesaw retreating to the spawn to try and help the Mercy get there in time, and that's a great take from Despacito as well onto Bandelli in the 5-on-4. As Diamond Dog does get burned down from Clear, under 60 seconds left. Blue Springs just needs a single tick on to the point to be able to win this one. As Bonesaw taking a lot of damage, dropping very low, very close to this rocket barrage that could turn the next fight as Bread gets a kill. Has 3 members right in front of him, but being spammed down, and a huge kill from Bandelli. The revive will come out. Are they going to be able to deny it? It does not look like that will be the case, as Bandelli will go down. There's a great flashbang mid-rocket barrage to stun Bonesaw. And that might be the small edge Blue Springs need. Slowly running out of time, about halfway to capturing the point. See Diamond Dog just rolling around, trying to stay alive. Clear will get the elimination. One more headshot on Despacito will do it, and Blue Springs will pick up the victory here, and they will move on to next week's grand final against the Pink Panthers.
Blue Springs did exactly what you want to see from a team in that situation. They recognized the win condition of the Everetts being that pharmacy duo, and as soon as they were able to take them out and even burn through the Mercy res that went uncontested, they had free reign of the high ground to take the point. So good on Blue Springs for that improvement.
Blue Springs, Pink Panthers will be your grand finals next week. Cannot wait to see how those two teams face off in our best of 5. But we are not done quite yet, and neither are the Everest, despite that loss there. We're going to get a look at the Everest taking on what I've been told, Brenner, is an esports alumni team. Before we do that, though, just a reminder, if you want to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers, then join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights. With our featured Rumbles, recruiters are taking notice as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. So big congratulations to Blue Springs and Pink Panthers. We'll see you two next week in our grand finals. But I think right now, Brenner, I'm excited to see what this Everest alumni game looks like, and I've been told that the Esports Tower alumni team potentially might have a person that we know is a big Overwatch fan here at Boise State. His name starts with a D and ends with an Ock.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how that player of the game might pan out for the alumni team, especially going up against the Everett's after just coming off of that loss, no less, but still being a previous Esports Tower Overwatch Rumble winner, especially being last week. So now, after losing to Blue Springs and losing kind of that second place spot, they definitely have something to prove going up against the alumni team, where they're kind of in the Overwatch Pro League now and very good sponsored players who won those scholarships. Beating this team definitely proves that these players have a place in this Overwatch Collegiate League. And so that could definitely get a lot of eyes over to them. So I definitely think the stress is on for this game for both teams, because now the alumni have to show that they still got it.
Well, we will take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get our look at the Everest taking on the alumni team, and that's how we'll wrap up our Week 3 Rumble. Don't go anywhere. Potentially the most fun match of the night coming up right after this break.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back into this broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch, broadcasting it live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We have a special treat to end this week of the Esports Tower Rumble. We're going to have the Everest of the Esports Tower taking on our alumni roster. I thought it was the Esports Tower. I've actually been told it is a Boise State alumni roster, Brenner. So I'm very curious who we'll see in this. There's also some special guests, I'm told. It is a best-of-5 series, and the reason the Everest picked are they won last week's Rumble, which puts them at the top of the Esports Tower Club teams, and now they get to test their skills, as we said, against this Boise State alumni roster. Should be a very fun series. We'll kick it off. We'll see just 2 games, a bit of a teaser this week. We'll finish the series next week after our Week 3 Grand Finals. And so, Brenner, it's a Boise State alumni team. I'm very curious who from the Boise State past we get to see. As I said, though, I know one member we get to see who, they're a Boise State member, should be our own Doc Haskell, I believe, is going to make an appearance. I don't know if it's tonight. I don't know if it'll be next Tuesday, but very, very excited because I feel like Doc, it doesn't matter what Doc is playing, he's going to be the focus from everybody because he's probably the biggest name on the Boise State team.
It's hard to say that he's not the biggest name, seeing as he runs the whole show. And I know from playing with Doc in the past that he is a professional baby diva main.
Oh.
So I hope we see that come out from him, as it is always a treat to watch. We see him play a lot of May as well, as I have played with him in the past. It is always a great ton of fun, and I definitely expect him to get play of the game from any hero that he plays.
Well, before we hop into this game, even though Doc's in it let's still get his keys to the game as presented by the Esports Tower. You can score pro advice at esportstower.com. Again, alumni game, Esports Tower, Everest taking on some Boise State alumni with some special guests I've been told as well that might make an appearance. And Doc's keys are understand your comp and play style, focus on each fight, get good alt value, objectives over kills, and I'll add one more in, kill Doc at all costs if he's ever in the game, just for the hashtag content. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. As I said, best of 5. We'll take a look at the first 2 games here tonight. We're starting on Lijiang Tower, Everest, and Alumni. And I'm ready to hop into it, and I'm really hoping we get to see Doc right off the bat, Brenner. I hope he doesn't wait till next week to make an appearance because, as I said, I think at least if I was in this game, Doc would be my focus no matter what. I don't care if I lose the fight. I'm looking for Doc. I'm looking for the 1v1, and I'm looking to remind him that I am superior. Here we go, Everest and our Boise State alumni as we fire it off here. Everest in the red and the alumni in the blue. And there's Doc on the Baby Diva as you predicted.
Yeah, this is exactly where we want to see him. As we know, with Doc's keys the game, they're something that he runs a lot. So objective more than kills is something we're going to have to watch on the Baby Diva because we know he's going to get kill thirsty to prove that he is the best, and we all know and love him for. And already being demeched is the scariest part because he's on that Baby Diva roll. So watch out for the DPS coming out here, as things are already not looking good for either side, as Bonesaw still looking for that value with the pharmacy combo.
Get the nano onto Bonesaw, and Bonesaw will eliminate our pro Baby Diva main, and with a great rocket barrage there as well. And this looks like much like we saw basically all last game. Nobody has an answer for Bonesaw on this Pharah.
Yeah, we have the same issue from Doc's keys of kills are not as good as the objective, as Doc on this Baby Diva main still going for kills rather than the objective, and not trying to get back in his mech to be the tank for his team. So all eyes are now going to be on the Everest for Bones on Pando, as they are the win condition of the Everest. We saw Blue Springs able to recognize that. So now with Maxwell going over to the Echo, it's going to be a battle of the skies.
So Maxwell, Boise State player, former Esports Tower player, can do against a Bonesaw. Pulse bomb from Despacito does go off, does not find value as Ymitra's Immortality Field will keep him alive, and there is Maxwell getting that elimination onto Bonesaw. The Valkyrie pod from Panda. We'll see if they can find a res. They can. And unfortunately, Maxwell just farming Bonesaw now, though does get eliminated by the Battle Mercy of all things, as a sound barrier from Fire Carter does come off, and so far the alumni in control of the point. Hold on, as Maxwell's going to go over to the Symmetra. We get a nice shatter there from Ehud, able to get a couple of eliminations comboed with Professor's Diva Bomb. And it looks like the alumni back in control.
Yeah, Doc proving why he is a Diva main right now, getting a really early on 2-piece with the self-destruct. And the first big ult we've seen in this matchup. So heading over to the Everest, who have the 3, soon-to-be 4 ult lead against the alumni, who only have that Deadeye coming online. You have to wonder how the alumni are going to counter this solid push with Diamond Dog on the Wrecking Ball having the mines and not Doomfist having the nano, with Chumma's Phone having his own self-destruct. A lot of pressures on Chumma's Phone to kind of one-up the Diva main that is Professor, as the nano comes out right onto Bonesaw.
You see everybody kind of roll away there. Bonesaw trying to build that rocket barrage, even going with a bit of ground Pharah. As you see Maxwell kind of running circles around him, does get stunned and taken out. And they're able to survive all of the ultimates besides Chumma's Phone's Diva Bomb there for the alumni. And now nearing that 99% mark, they're going to force him into overtime. There's the bomb from Chumma's Fun, picks up a double kill of his own. Despacito gets one more. And I think the Everest are going to be able to hang around in this one. Ymitra will go down as well. It looks like they should be able to flip the point.
Yeah, he was able to take out that Baby Diva, but did lose his life to Diamond Dog, so it looks like the Everett's will take it, as you said. So now the alumni have to go for the regroup, as Professor is still in Baby Diva form, so you have to watch out for his very long-range poke damage that the Baby Diva Blaster has. You know, this is not Here's the Storm. He does not have the ult burst or even the dodge for that matter. So Baby Diva in this nerf state is still a threat to be reckoned with, as Bonesaw seems he's going for the counter push with the Bonesaw on the back line, and it's going to pay off.
It's a double kill on the Greek and Professor. Great job there with the flank from Bonesaw. Unfortunately, the rest of his team not on the same page. Maxwell going to pick up elimination, so will Ehud. And the Alumni have respawned. Everest still control of the point, but Maxwell hunting down Chum is fun. Able to stay alive, teleport back to safety, and I think the Alumni should be able to flip this, and they're going to put the Everest on the last fight as they start getting pick after pick.
Yeah, all eyes are going to be on Cassidy to take out the Pharmacy combo with this Deadeye. Hey, once they cap the point at the barely 1% remaining, it looks like he's going to use it to take out Chum is Fun instead. As Diamond Dog ends up falling off the edge, he still will be able to take out Bonesaw even without the Deadeye. But now Max will win for the Pulse Bomb attempt onto Pando, but instead he will get taken out by the Flame Strike. So things are not looking good for the Everest as the Alumni take Lijiang Tower.
Very close game one here on Lijiang Tower between these two squads. There's a big shout out to the Everest for keeping with the Alumni. Maybe the Alumni getting a little rusty. We'll have to see here what map 2 has in store.
Yeah, map 2 is definitely going to be all eyes on both teams for that matter, as the Everett's having a real problem trying to regroup and have a solid team push, and once they did, they were finally able to take the point, but as soon as the Alumni came back around, they were able to take it, as that highlight of Doc's first two-man Diva Bomb coming out. Chum Bomb quickly followed that up, followed by that two-man Deadeye. A lot of two-man ultimate kills, but we haven't seen more than that in this matchup so far, which I hope to see, as we're even going to see the Alumni bring out their own Symmetra, but Bonesaw's got that Bastion, so things are not looking good for Alumni as Doc goes full face into the Bastion.
Trying to tank some of that damage, does lose the mech, but as you mentioned, potentially where Doc is more comfortable, as Maxwell's going to get that elimination onto Bonesaw. Professor taking quite a bit of damage in that baby Diva form, but able to hold on. Immortality field does go down from Not Doomfist as well. Yamitra forced to burn his. But it's the two supports for the Everest that are barely hanging on. A punch from Maxwell will eliminate Not Doomfist. Pando looks to be the next target, should be able to hold on. Doc maybe you're looking for a cheeky remech kill, but not going to be able to find it. We'll just remech on the point. A Pulse Bomb coming out from Maxwell, not able to find anything. But Bonesaw will go down once again now on this Doomfist, and after the early start, it looks like it's once again the Alumni who will rack up the kills and flip the point.
Yeah, Doc was able to stay alive through all of that, did lose his mech once again, so he's back in his peak baby Diva form. He is having a field day right now with the Everett's as they're trying to manage to leave their spawn as they run right into the Amplification Matrix.
The shatter from Diamond Dog does find Fire Carter, but not able to find the elimination. They're able to take out the Symmetra Teleporter, are the Everest, and hop back on the point. It looks like the Alumni nearly gave it to him. Now Professor will go racing in. Unfortunately, can't get a knock off of the edge, and the Everest will once again take control of the point.
Seems Doc is going to go for the reset rather than humiliate the Everest with his baby Diva skill for another time. But also with the fall of Ehud, it looks like the Alumni are going to have to go for a reset here as the Everett's are finally getting aggressive and pushing into the spawn of the Alumni as Maxwell wins the 1v1 against Despacito. They do have the 1-up since they had spawn advantage, so I expect to see the Alumni get aggressive here, even though they just lost Maxwell to Bonesaw.
Maxwell does have that Pulse Bomb available. It's 4 alts, almost 5 here for the Everest that'll be up for the next fight, so you probably have to expect Fire Carter to land a pretty good sound barrier here. Teleporter is immediately going to come in. Photon barrier from Despacito. There is that sound barrier, and another photon barrier comes down, but it's not enough to stop Bonesaw from getting that Deadeye kill onto Ehud, of all people, which is a fantastic elimination for the Everest. We see Maxwell is able at least to pick up 1 kill. Professor will go down, so both tanks from the Alumni now racing back to the point, and that's going to allow the Everest to just continue pushing here up above 70%.
Yeah, the Everest are playing a very solid defense right now against the Alumni. Closing in on that 80%, soon to be 90, unless the Alumni have something to say about it. Doc is very close to that self-destruct to get another possible double kill here, but it looks like the shatter from the Everest is going to stop that push.
Shatter plus the aggressive sound barrier from Pando. Just going to force back the Alumni. Doc barely able to stay alive, and now the Alumni going to get one more chance here, or we're going to be going to a map 3.
it seems that it's all going to be on Doc to try to flying in time, but it looks like we're going to spoke too soon of map 3 as the Alumni are throwing everything they got at them.
Doctor started out with the Diva Bomb, able to get the remech off as well. There's Chum is Fun looking for a Diva Bomb of his own, and he will pick up a double elimination onto both tanks for the Alumni, and just like that, the Everests are going to force us to a game 3 here on Lijon.
Everett's came back. They lost map 1, won map 2, so now in this best of 1, it's a best of 1 but a best of 3 for Control, not to confuse you whatsoever. So now on the final map of Lijiang Tower, I expect to see all the stops coming out from the Alumni as they want to prove why they came from Esports Tower. You know, they're some of the best, and so they still got it, or at least we hope they do, to beat the Everests, who are still in the heat of learning how to play pro Overwatch. So now with Maxwell over on the Doomfist, no longer on the Tracer, it seems the rest of the Alumni are going to stick to their role and play around this sim brawl. So it seems it's going to be a mirror match for these two teams, but all eyes are going to be on Bonesaw and Maxwell as they are the only difference here.
Bonesaw starting out with just some spam onto the back line. It's Diamond Dog who actually picks up the first elimination onto Ehud. Professor demeched and killed by Chum is Fun as well. So far the mirror match easily favoring the Everest, and with not Doomfist appropriately enough taking out Maxwell on that Doomfist, the Everest will start with early control of the point.
Yeah, I would hope to see some comp swamps already as Maxwell's going over to that Mei, as the Doomfist was not working out against the Junkrat as the fight begins. Once again, a lot of early damage, and Maxwell already at that half HP, but hopefully going to charge that Blizzard quickly because the Symmetra is at 82% for that Photon Barrier as the Amplification Matrix from the Everest come out.
Alumni will do a good job there of line of sighting, and we hear that Riptire come out from Bonesaw and gets a double kill. It has been a night of double kills for ultimates here in the Esports Tower as Bonesaw gets 2 more onto Professor and Ehud. And the tank line for the Alumni have just been brutalized by these Everest ults time and time again.
Yeah, the front tank line of the Alumni, as you touched on, has just been brutally battered by the Everests, as now Ehud's going over to the Wrecking Ball. So it seems like they're going for a big swap with both the Symmetra swapping off as well as Maxwell over to the Tracer. So now we got that Echo. Echo indoors is not ideal without that Pocket Mercy, so she is going to have a rough time unless she's able to get some early damage with that Amplification Matrix, even though the Shatter is going to stop it.
Shatter will stop it. Sound Barrier does come out from Fire Carter, and that allows Greek to start pushing forward. Takes out Bonesaw. Pando's going to have to drop a Sound Barrier of his own as Ehud taking quite a bit of damage. Trying to roll away, but will not be able to. Diamond Dog going to pick up a second elimination as well, and after a great start for the Alumni, they're going to get forced back, and they're running out of time.
Yeah, the stall onto Doc of this baby Diva. He's trying to do everything he can, but it will not be enough as he gets meleeed from behind from Bonesaw. So I'm going to have to go practically full stall here in order to even get to the point in time, as the Everests are at their spawn door ready and waiting with even the self-destruct in their toolkit.
See what the Alumni can do to try and keep overtime going. Pulse Pump from Maxwell just eliminates not Doomfist's Immortality Field. Diamond Dog's shield does get broken, and he will be eliminated early on. There is Chum is Fum's Diva Bomb. Gonna find elimination on the Amitra, and that could set back the Alumni's progress as Despacito gonna get one more. Here's Professor's Hail Mary Diva Bomb. It will find nothing, and unfortunately the Alumni just running out of bodies. It's all up to Professor and Greek. Now it's just up to Professor trying to stall out on the point as long as possible. Demect eliminated, and the Everest will claim game 1 over the Alumni.
Yeah, a hard-fought victory for the Everest. Is losing map 1 but winning 2 and 3. So now the Alumni have to be able to come back in order to win this best of 5, because now it is an even 2-2 between these two teams.
Rialto the map that will be coming up next. As we said, we'll have games 3 and potentially 4 and 5, however long the series goes next week. We just wanted to get a sneak preview of the Everest taking on some of the alumni. And I will say the Everest, after coming off that loss to Blue Springs, Brenner, a very, very impressive performance here to rebound against, again, players who came out of the Esports Tower. We know Maxwell again at the collegiate level. Some of these other players, I'm sure, improving as well. So a great statement there for the Everest to win map 1, and as you said, do it in a fashion where they win part 2 and part 3 of Lijiang after getting rolled on the first one.
Yeah, and I definitely think the alumni have an uphill battle against the Everett's, since the Everett's are a cohesive team that have been playing together for a while, whereas the alumni have had that training in order to have kind of that fluid play style of, all right, here's how we work together and figure it out on the spot, but they don't have that long-term cohesion of, all right, what's our role? Who can we play? What's the team comp that we can play to counter this? Who's our strongest? They don't have a lot of that figured out. Maybe Maxwell and Doctor, just because they work and play together a lot. But with all the other players coming online, the alumni definitely have an uphill battle, and I'm curious how things on Rialto are going to go, as it is a map that we don't see very often from the Boise State. So already 2 of the players might be at a slight disadvantage, whereas the Everett's hopefully practice on every map and have a strategy going into it.
I think it is interesting that you point out is that the Everest practice a ton within the Esports Tower. The alumni, even though potentially on paper might be the more talented team, again, not all working together. Don't know how much practice they got going into this, so they might be kind of just playing more of a solo queue style. And so maybe as this series goes on, that's when we can see the alumni start to shine through once they do figure out their comps, once they do figure out exactly what the plan is going to be. But as you said, we go to Rialto, a map we don't see too often here. It is the Everest and the alumni of the Esports Tower having a little bit of fun here. And if you did just join us, it will be the Pink Panthers and Blue Spring in our grand finals next week. As for the Everest, we see a couple of changes. We do get Panda Squad, who we have not seen this week, coming in. And for the alumni, looks like they will have Don Tony in on that tank line now, and Ehud will take over the dock role on the Diva. But early on, Panda Squad already dominating with a nice headshot onto Maxwell, who is playing that Widowmaker. And the Hanzo play tonight has been actually spectacular.
Yeah, as soon as Clear swapped over to Vandelli, the Hanzos have been a threat to be reckoned with, as an uncontested Mercy Res is even going to go out onto Yimtra. So now, with Maxwell swapping over to the Soldier 76 and the Nano already online for the alumni, they're having a solid attack.
Unfortunately, that nanoed Winston will just get absolutely dominated there. Gets taken out by Chum is Fun. Pando going to get a headshot there with Maxwell now on that Soldier, trying to get a pick onto somebody, and it's Panda Squad who's been popping off so far early on for the Everest.
Yeah, it's kind of the battle of the Pandos right now, because we have Pando and Panda. So we'll have to see which one comes out on top between these 2 players. Even though they are on the same team, you know it's always going to be a friendly competition between players. So going into this next attack, the alumni have the ult charge, but the Everett's already have the ults online, so it looks like they're going to kick things off with a Hanzo duplicate.
Duplicate immediately gets dominated, and it does not last for very long. And we see Diamond Dog pick up a kill there, Pando as well. Maxwell at least able to get some value as building towards that tack visor, but once again the alumni gets sent back. Ehud has been demeched as well. Chum is Fun gets a kill, and that payload really didn't go anywhere, and there's still 4 ults up for the Everest.
Yeah, they did have to commit the Transcendence to keep so many of their members alive, but with Bonesaw having the Molten Core and the alumni having a very ground-heavy team with both the Ana, the Soldier, I do not see things ending well, but it looks like Ehud will be able to eat that Dragon Strike, so Panda Squad not looking too good or happy about that.
That's a great job by Ehud. I think ate that through the wall. The Molten Core will go down from Bonesaw, but a great tack visor from Maxwell is going to shred Diamond Dog, though Panda will pick up an elimination, so it is a 1-for-1. Valkyrie used by Fire Carter to help try and push this point as they're down to the final 60 seconds are the alumni. They get the revive off as well. Ehud will use the Diva Bomb, pick off Chum is Fun, but their own Diva Bomb will eliminate Greek as they go back and forth, basically 1-for-1 trades here. Maxwell going to get headshot by Panda Squad on a great little peek. And with the cart just a few meters away from capping, unfortunately, the alumni just starting to run out of bodies.
Yeah, so Maxwell tried going back to the Widowmaker for a second, but decided on the Tracer as this Hanzo has been such an issue for him. We see him multiple times try to peek with the Soldier and get some damage, but just gets insta headshot with that Hanzo arrow. So going over to the Tracer will hopefully deny that and allow him a bit more mobility so he does not get constantly nailed by these arrows, as he's already able to demech and eliminate the Baby D.Va, but gets quickly taken out by Panda. Oh, it is all holds bar push here for the Alumni to get the first checkpoint.
Bonesaw trying to hide in the corner, gets found out by Greek though, however, gets the duplicate right on top of the Bastion, and is going to be able to pull out the tank for him. A great little play there from the Alumni. Tank form gets a cut one elimination, looking for one more. Panda's going to be forced to pop the Transcendence. Final chance here for the Alumni to keep this map going. They're up one in the fight right now with Panda Squad taken down, and they're just pushing back the Everest to pick up a couple of kills. And as we've seen all night, Brenner, zeros on the clock, and the team's able to come out victorious as Bonesaw on that Bastion just not been working.
Yeah, it's hard to not attribute that entire final push to Greek with that duplicate on the Bastion. He was able to take out that cheeky hidden Bastion, use the beam to burn down the Orisa. So already they're losing two key defensive players. Greek having a field day right now, trying to pick off the rotating members of the Everett, as Bonesaw sticking to this Bastion because he has tank form. Same with not Doomfist also having the Amplification Matrix online, but the Alumni are going to kick things off with their own Nano.
Bonesaw now getting some value, taking quite a bit of damage, trying to poke down Greek up in the air, but gets put to sleep. Does have the tank form available. We'll see how long wants to wait to use it. As D'Antoni with that Primal Rage activated, still going to get taken out. And finally the Everest's able to start to mount a little bit of a defense.
Yeah, but it's going to come at a cost, as Bonesaw is going to be able to get a two-piece with, make that a three with his own tank, one-upping Greek from that duplicate on the Echo. Ihu will have to go for the retreat as he lost way too much life, but they should come out of this with an elimination on the Bonesaw as the life bar is so low. 5 health and makes it out alive. And Bonesaw is still alive as well. It's not what you want to see from the Alumni. He was out of space, out of positioning, sorry. Pushed way too far forward. He should be eliminated, but instead they're going to take out Greek and force the rest to come out. And finally, D'Antoni is going to be able to take out Bonesaw, so the Alumni will be able to push.
45 seconds left. We'll see, much like we've seen all night, as soon as the clock hits zeros, if the Alumni are able to keep pushing. As we see who's going to drop the minefield, jump down right on top of him. A Transcendence from Pando should be able to eat most of those mines for the Zenyatta. D'Antoni able to remech barrier in the Baby D.Va form, not able to find a kill. Chum is fun, has the D.Va bomb. Ehud just going to get taken down, was trying to get in Bonesaw's face, and Bonesaw almost has another tank form ult available, which would be huge here in this final fight. The Alumni already down 2. Maxwell and Ehud able to probably race back pretty quickly, though, on the Tracer and Wrecking Ball. Looks like the Alumni, that's exactly what they're waiting for.
Yeah, the tank forward did end up coming out to try to take out Ehud, but was not able to get anything, but instead Chum is fun with the self-destruct, is able to take out Ehud, and Doomfist takes out the duplicate. Bonesaw takes out D'Antoni on the Baby D.Va. Diamond Dog takes out Maxwell, and there goes another duplicate. Seems that the Everetts will be able to hold them before taking the second checkpoint. So the pressure's on to the Alumni to defend, as the Bastion from the Everetts actually got a ton of value, which is something I would have hoped to see the Alumni counter much earlier on once they saw him.
It took a while for that Bastion to get going. It definitely struggled on point 1, but yeah, after that, Bonesaw got a ton of value, and the Alumni really never were able to find a way to eliminate them. It is the Everest taking on the Esports Tower. Alumni here. We'll take a look at Rialto, and then we'll see the rest of that series next week. But it looks like so far the Everest in a great spot here. I mean, don't have to go too far on Rialto to be able to make this a 2-0 series and really put together a pretty dominant performance to end our night.
Yeah, we saw the Alumni start off with a strong win on the first map of Lijiang Tower, but the Everest came back and have been showing a very dominating performance. Rialto was a bit more back and forth, but the Everest kept at it and were able to get a ton of value on the defense on that second checkpoint. Even when they did something as unorthodox as the Bastion on defense that we don't see a lot, we usually see that power ship on attack. And the fact that it worked out and Greek on the Echo was able to contest it as long as he did was honestly just a great praise to both of those players in their respected roles.
Here we go, second part of Rialto. We'll see if the Everest can have a 2-0 lead going into next week, or if the Alumni will be able to pull off a close hold and burn off the time, as we already see a Symmetra, not something you see very often, trying to line it up. I do think, yeah, it did get spotted, unfortunately, and the teleporter got destroyed. A great job by Maxwell spotting out that cheese early on, and I'm surprised Panda did not want to swap after the cheese start was immediately figured out.
Yeah, the Alumni definitely have a read on the Everest strategy of that Bastion, so immediately Bonesaw is going to have to swap off over to the Tracer, seeing as it will not work. So now all eyes will be on Bonesaw for this Tracer to try to take out Greek in that backline as the Widow, but with the wall hacks of the sites coming online for Greek, I do not see the Tracer having that opportunity, as in one burst of attack she's already able to get up to 20%, but will get taken out by Greek once again. And Maxwell is able to even farm up the barrage and get a 2-piece from it.
Great job there by Maxwell, and I don't think he's done yet, is getting the rest of the team of the Everest burned lower and lower. Diamond Dog popped up in the air, gets headshot there by Greek, and unfortunately the Everest attack is struggling much harder than the Alumni's did.
Yeah, the Alumni may not be playing together as a team to hold against them, but instead they're just covering every angle possible. We have Greek holding the Law Hongwei, and the constant boops coming out from Maxwell have been playing into their strengths right now, as the Everts have been trying to find any hole in this defense so far, as they're finally able to group up and push this car.
No one can hide.
And first sight going to be popped there by Greek in order to give his team a view of where everybody is, but they're not going to see that Bonesaw went on the flank on that soldier. Yamitra will get one before being taken out by Chum's Fum. And looks like the Everest got a little bit of space. They get a revive onto Yamitra as well. They'll immediately pop the Valkyrie, see if they're going to pop the Transcendence as well, and they will do that to try and continue to deny value from the Everest, who did throw down that Ant Matrix. Diamond Dog just getting bumped back, a minefield kill for Ehud, and I think the Everest are going to be forced to reset.
Yeah, we saw both Bonesaw and Pando go into that backline to take out Greek, but by the time they got back, her team had already lost the fight on the cart, as so many of their members were pushed back to spawn with the help of Ehud and Don Tony holding that front line. As you mentioned, that resin from Firecutter onto Yamitra is exactly what they needed to keep their supports alive, and Greek has definitely been one of the carries of this Alumni team on this Widow, just constantly getting picks. This is exactly what you want to see from a Widowmaker, as she has just been outperforming so many people as Panda Squad. But on this Hanzo, now having the dual dragons online, we're going to see the barrage from Maxwell come out and only be able to take out that D.Va.
Firecutter does get the revive onto Maxwell, so the barrage kill is not going to be too impactful, as Maxwell just hanging out on the right side of the map. I don't think anyone on the Everest is going to be ready for that, as D'Antoni almost has the Gravitic Flux online. Final two chances here for the Everest with 40 seconds on the clock, or the Alumni will be able to tie this series up going into next week. Impresight's going to come out. Dragon Strike will be used as well. D'Antoni dropping incredibly low. Tack Visor from Bonesaw going to be used, and able to pick up D'Antoni and Ehud, with Diamond Dog getting the assist. But unfortunately, Greek and Maxwell, even without their tanks, still being a menace. But it looks like once again, Brenner, no time on the clock, no problem, as we'll see if the Everest are able to cap this, or if we'll get a late contest from the Alumni.
Yeah, it seems that the Alumni are heavily relying on Ehud on this Wrecking Ball to get back to the car in time to contest it. It looks like he will be there, but now with Diamond Dog refocusing onto the car, all eyes are on the Everest tank to hold this off, as Bonesaw is going to end up suiciding with Rocket at the feet, I believe.
Ehud gets an elimination onto Panda Squad. They're 1 meter away. Chum is Fum with the desperation. D.Va Bomb actually going to eliminate Ehud, and that did just enough to push everyone off the point. So despite the Alumni racking up some post-point kills, the Everest are going to get 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock to keep pushing.
Yeah, so the Alumni are going to have to regroup for this defense, as Greek is having once again a great field day against the Everett's, getting constant picks onto the low health backline that have been kind of playing a bit spread apart, but without Diamond Dog in the way, He's going to have a ton of fun, but only being at 1 HP against a Tracer is not what you want to see, but he's finally able to land that headshot and take her out, and has his wall hacks up again for, I believe, the 4th time.
Maxwell able to get an elimination as well onto Bonesaw, who's now on that Echo. Pando going down with the sound barrier available is not what you want to see for the Everests, who had pushed about halfway to the parking spot, but they're going to be forced to reset back as the alumni with Greek and Maxwell have been very hard to break. Uh-oh, Maxwell going for something cheeky here as well.
Yeah, and it could easily pay off having that pharmacy combo. He's got the pocket firecracker right now with both the damage boost and the healing. He knows when to keep his Mercy safe and back off. And instead, Greek's going to be able to take out the Baby Diva and stall out for just a bit more time against the Everests. They do have 3 ults for this next push, whereas the alumni only have 2, soon to be 3 if Yamitra can charge this amplification matrix quick enough. You can see the tanks waiting for it as the alumni are utilizing that high ground right now.
Diamond Dog gonna go in with the Primal Rage, misses the first jump, finds it on the second though, does get stunned and knocked off the high ground. Sound barrier and a nano going to come out as well. It's Bonesaw who's the recipient of the nano and immediately gets a kill onto Fire Carter. Diamond Dog and Pando able to pick up a couple as well before finally the Everest lose a member. But the only downside here is we see Bonesaw fighting away from the point, closer to his own spawn than anything else. Greek will pop the infra sights there, 30 seconds left. Looks like the Everest, they're 0.9 meters away. Diva Bomb from Chum is Fun will come out, and it looks like the Everests are going to pick this one up, and they'll have a 2-0 lead going into next week.
Yeah, we saw at the very end there Bonesaw fighting Maxwell practically near Bonesaw's spawn, so Maxwell was not contributing to holding that final objective, which is not what you want to see from the alumni team, but we touched on that they kind of come together just for this specific moment, so they don't really have that cohesive team play that the Everests have right now. Oh, so little mistakes like that do matter, but they were constantly winning those 1v1s because they have that high individual level play, whereas the Everests have the better team play.
See what the alumni can do next week. As we mentioned, is a best of 5, so plenty of chance to rally, but it looks like the Everests are going to take that one home. And we'll also have Blue Springs taking on the Pink Panthers in our grand finals. We'll be prepared to wind down this week's portion of the Esports Tower Rumble. Brenner, we do have our ICCU player of the game and several very deserving nominees. And who do you think should be the recipient?
I would give it to Bandelli on the Hanzo for Temple of Anubis. He was able to hold that first point for way too long as a Hanzo, and once Clear recognized that he was not doing well on Hanzo, went over to the Ashe, and Bandelli picked it up. I definitely have to give him credit for that because he hard carried his team on that point on that defense.
Yeah, I would probably think the other person who's deserving would probably be Brett. I thought they were phenomenal, especially on that Reinhardt early on, and also had some great wrecking ball plays as well, so we will have to see who it is going to be because we definitely had some very great individual pop-off moments from several of our players, and interestingly enough, I mean, the Pink Panthers didn't really have anyone nominated because that's, once again, I think they rely a lot on team play, though. They didn't have that pop-off moment as we see who our player of the game is going to be, and it will be Bonesaw, who really had some phenomenal Pharah play as well.
Yeah, we saw them play very well versus the alumni just now, or when they went up against the Pink Panthers, they were really the main threat for the Pink Panthers, which is why we saw them eliminated so often. And going over to this Fire Islands match as well, this pharmacy duo between him and Panda was uncontested for way too long and allowed him to get so much value. So if we're going to give it to Bonesaw, you have to mention Pando because he was right beside him holding him up.
Yeah, I did not feel like any team in the Esports Tower, and the alumni included, had an answer for Bonesaw on that Pharah. And as you mentioned, anytime there's a Pharah that's successful, there's usually a Mercy right behind, connected by a blue beam. So congratulations to Bonesaw. You are your Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Week, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Bonesaw, the Player of the Week, but as you said, Pando, probably should split that award with him, maybe take him out to lunch because he was right there behind you, supporting you the whole way. We'll prepare to close this out. Of course, next week we'll have our grand final. We'll have the conclusion of our alumni match as well. What are your big takeaways here from tonight's action, Brenner?
I'd say with confidence that we've seen improvement from all of the teams. You know, Pink Panthers still at the top of their game as we saw from week 1. And as you mentioned, they took the break, so now they're back in week 3, and they're performing just as well as we expected. The Everests have also definitely improved, seeing as they're currently beating the alumni team and beat the Fire Islands. They did lose to Blue Springs, which is to credit to Blue Springs, they have finally won against the Everett's. We saw them last week lose the grand finales to the Everett's, and now that they're coming back, proving that they are now in that second spot and deserving of it, we could easily see Blue Springs taking their first grand finals against the Pink Panthers if the Pink Panthers aren't ready for the Blue Springs coming into this. But I would have to doubt that with how strong the Pink Panthers have been, having that strong team play, whereas Blue Springs have had decent but not the best.
As you said, I would probably lean Pink Panthers with you as well, but you never know. Blue Springs has some strong individual play. Well, congratulations to all of our teams. As Brenner said, everybody looking more and more improved every single week. Next week, we'll have our grand finals. Will be a best of 5 between Blue Springs and the Pink Panthers. And then after that, we'll have the conclusion of our alumni match. We'll see if the Everest can take down the Esports Tower alumni after dominating those first 2 games. It's been a fantastic first part of our Week 3 Overwatch Rumble. Make sure you come back next Tuesday, same time, for I'm sure what will be a thrilling conclusion. We will now close out, though, with our top 5 presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard is one of the best teams out there. Here are your top 5 plays from the round-robin portion of our Week 3 Esports Tower Overwatch Rumble. Photon barriers will go down as Fire Islands gets a huge, I think that's a 6-man shatter from Frozen Phoenix, catches Blue Springs off guard. That's another way to break a close ball and hold on against Brenner's. Just landed probably the best shatter you'll ever see.
Yeah, definitely has definitely been paying off for them.
And Matrix goes down from not Doomfist, which is something that plagued the Fire Islands in our first match, as Despacito up on one of those pillars. Taking quite a bit of damage from Shroomy, going to get right up in his face, shotgun him away, and then a headshot on the man-can-man, and it's another one-team fight for the Everests. Play this one, the Nano also already built up for not Doomfist, and it's been Deli who gets that first elimination. And with your comp built around the Nano Blade and Bonesaw below 40%, it's going to make it very hard to push as the Dragon Strikes pick up a kill onto one member, and the mech is Bandeli popping off on this Hanzo.
Yeah, Bandeli is down. Tallyfield gets burned down way too quickly, but having an anti not allowing them to be healed allows you to secure the elimination, whereas Fire Islands are going for kind of the sustain, and losing Lucio is not how you want to start it.
Bonesaw right behind him, picking up a double kill. Shroomy does at least get one, but is going to get shot from the sky as he tries to run
Junkrat, and it seems that Junkrat is not being able to match the damage output of the Cassidy, as he just has way more utility, especially with the flashbang going up against a Reinhardt who can throw it above and just remove the shield for the time being, rather than Junkrat that's going through the equation as amazing plays coming out.
Yeah, Brett just dominating the kill feed.